It's Monday, July 13th, and the time for your Barbados Today morning news update. The first commercial flight in several weeks touched down at the Grantley Adams International Airport yesterday afternoon. On the strict protocols, 132 passengers disembarked in batches from Air Canada Flight 966 from Toronto following an ease in the island's COVID-19 lockdown. Our Kareem Smith was at the airport and has a full report.
The Grantley Adams International Airport was a hive of activity as Barbados welcomed its first commercial flight to the country since March. On it were visitors from as far away as Switzerland, as well as a number of Barbadians who were simply happy to make it home to their families. Air Canada Flight AC 966 arrived around 2:30 on Sunday afternoon, welcoming 132 people, including Canada's High Commissioner to Barbados, Marie Legault, under a range of new protocols tailor-made for the peculiar realities of COVID-19. Family members, friends, taxi operators, rental car agents, and red cap porters were among the dozens of people waiting in the area of the arrival hall. Journalists were not allowed on the inside, but Minister of Tourism and International Transport Carrie Simmons, who was accompanied by Home Affairs Minister Edmund Hinkson, said he was, quote, relatively satisfied with the outcome. Passengers were serenaded with a rousing welcome from the Royal Barbados Police Force Band, after which they were subjected to temperature checks before queuing to display their results. Hugs and kisses were exchanged between loved ones before they walked briskly to the GAIA parking lot and were whisked away. Visitors described the airport protocols as smooth and explained that the instructions from local officials were very clear from the time flight AC 966 landed. Others lamented that Barbadians appear to be considerably more relaxed about the need for physical distancing than those resident in Canada. Among the tourists who came into the country was a family of 5. While they did not wish to reveal their identities, they told Barbados Today they had journeyed to Canada from Switzerland and were hoping to enjoy a 5-week vacation on the island. Kareem Smith for Barbados Today.
Meantime, Tourism and International Transport Minister Carrie Simmons, who was relatively satisfied with yesterday's process, disclosed that a few amendments may be made going forward. He also reiterated the government's position on the 72-hour PCR COVID-19 test put in place for all persons traveling to Barbados and which has come under some scrutiny.
We are doing this on a market-by-market basis. There are some markets which are so low in terms of the population and the presence of COVID, the ratio between the presence of COVID and the size of the population, as to make it a relatively safer jurisdiction. Then there are others, quite frankly, like the United States of America, where the ratio is quite high. What we are saying is that if you come from a more high-risk jurisdiction or even a medium-risk jurisdiction, we're asking you to then be submitted to a further test after 7 days of being monitored on the island when you've come with your negative test. So we accept that even though you've come with a negative test, you've since taken that test and you're taking the test 72 hours before you board the aircraft. You may have touched somebody or come into contact with somebody at the airport or on the way to the airport or the night before you travel, whatever, and in spite of having the test at that time, there is still a risk. Our duty really is to try to do that balancing out between the probability and the possibility.
Meanwhile, Barbadians have been told that they ought not to be concerned about the recent imported cases of COVID-19. So said Health Minister Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Bostic, who again assured that the country had the capacity to deal with the situation. On Saturday, the island's COVID-19 count climbed to 103 after 5 people on a previously repatriated JetBlue flight tested positive. 6 people are now in isolation. There were no reported cases on Sunday. But speaking on state television, Minister Bostic maintained that the new cases were expected.
I would say that Barbadians ought not to be concerned. And why you say that? Because this does not challenge us. This is expected that we will get some cases. And yes, the numbers have gone up by 5, but those are numbers, those are statistics. The government of Barbados and the Ministry of Health and Wellness, we are interested in people. We are dealing with human beings and human life. And human beings that happen to be our brothers and sisters, our citizens. And that is everything that it takes to deal with this. not a challenge. We don't have any community spread. We can handle this. We will handle this. And I think Barbadians should feel free to continue going about their lives, living with the protocols that are in existence at this point in time. And have no fear. Anytime there's time for fear, the government of Barbados will come and we will speak to the people, and the people will know because they will be impacted by whatever measures we have to take if we reach that sort of situation.
The newly touted 12-month welcome stamp, which allows for anyone in the world who wants to come to work in Barbados, has gone viral. Prime Minister Mia Mottley made the disclosure over the weekend as she spoke with Carl Cox, host of the online show Cabin Fever in Australia.
A couple of days ago, we didn't even launch it formally, but we talked locally about a Barbados 12-month welcome stamp for anybody in the world who wants to come and work from Barbados digitally. Yes. So if you wanted to come and work from here for the next 12 months and live here, relatively safe location, wonderful breeze, all of the facilities you need to do your work, but do it next to the sea and the sun for a change.
Yes.
And the thing has gone viral. I mean, all over, both sides of the Atlantic. I've just been doing interviews for the last 3-4 days. It was in about 25-30 major newspapers. And it just goes to show you that you can literally use here as a hub and be a global citizen from here.
Right.
But allow the best of Barbados and the Caribbean to flavor all that you're doing.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To news from the region, the Bahamas Consul General to Miami, Linda Trigo-Mackey, is urging her countrymen against traveling to Florida unless absolutely necessary. The diplomat made the plea after Florida reported a record increase of more than 15,000 new cases of COVID-19 in 24 hours on Sunday.
It's quite concerning, even more especially for my staff, as we are open for business with appointments only, but we've been very busy due to the travel of persons who are still here and those who have traveled here and needing to return home and needing help with their travel cards. But in light of the numbers, as much as we consider Miami our backyard and a place that we desire much for travel, for shopping, and so many other things, I would strongly recommend at this time that Bahamians only travel to Miami, especially if it's for essential travel. That includes hospitalization, doctor's visits, business that is necessary. Outside of that, I would strongly advise that if they can delay trips and visits, to wait until the numbers decrease.
And finally, on the international scene, U.S. President Donald Trump has worn a mask in public for the first time since the start of the coronavirus pandemic. He donned the mask during a visit to a military hospital outside Washington. The president stated he was never against masks, but believed there was a time and place. More in this report from Reuters TV.
President Donald Trump donned a mask for the first time in public Saturday. He was visiting Walter Reed Military Medical Center just outside Washington. It was a carefully staged photo op. He sported a navy blue mask bearing the presidential seal. He had previously refused to wear a mask and would not ask other Americans to do so, saying it was a personal choice. Critics had said his refusal to wear one showed a lack of leadership. Just before his visit, he told reporters why he'll wear one Saturday.
I think when you're in a hospital, especially in that particular setting where you're talking to a lot of soldiers and people that in some cases just got off the operating tables, I think it's a great thing to wear a mask.
Trump made the move as new coronavirus cases hit consecutive records.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.